Hi, my name is Lowell Joseph Gallen, and I would like to welcome our guests for tonight's program who are here, as well as our viewers and listeners to this evening's program in our Root and Branch Association English Language Conference and Lecture Series hosted here at the OU Israel Center in Jerusalem, Israel. I am very proud to always say that we are celebrating the 22nd year of our lecture and conference series, which began in January 1995. The speaker for tonight's program is Mrs. Ilana Weiler. Ilana, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Ilana is a certified EFT practitioner. That means a practitioner of emotional freedom techniques. The subject for tonight's talk is introducing emotional freedom techniques to Israel. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2017, and in the Hebrew calendar, it is the 25th of Av, 5777. And now I'd like to introduce our program chair, Dr. Les Glassman, who's going to make some remarks.
Very brief. Okay, it's a pleasure to welcome you this evening, and it was a pleasure to find out that your husband is ex-South African
Yes.
in the very Choshva, very important Weiler family. So it was actually a special treat for me to hear.
Thank you.
So we look forward to an inspiring, it's going to be an amazing talk, and to our audience here and to our viewers. I think if somebody wants to ask a question, we'll see how it goes.
Yes.
During the talk or at the end of the talk, feel free. And without further ado, we are very eager to hear what you have to say on this very important topic.
Thank you. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. So, as you heard, my name is Ilana Weiler, and I'm an EFT expert. Actually, that's my title. EFT expert. I specialize in energy psychology modalities. This is the general name of these modalities, and the main one is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Anybody heard about it, EFT? Oh, great. Wonderful. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It was designed about 30 years ago in America by Gary Craig, and is also known as tapping or acupuncture without needles. Okay, so acupuncture without needles because it really correlates with the energy system as designed as in Chinese medicine. Yeah, what's called the meridians energy system. Did you experience, for example, acupuncture? Anybody? Yes. Okay. I would like to thank you, Aryeh and Dr. Les, for hosting me and having this program going on for so many years. And though I feel safe in English, but I do want to apologize if at some point I would have any language barriers, okay, because I'm an Israeli, it's not my first language. My goal for tonight, for this evening, is to teach you as less as possible. Okay, this is my goal, because the subject is so wide and so deep, and usually I give workshops. For example, while teaching EFT level 1, it's an 8 hours workshop. So in lectures like this that are called introductions, I do have introductions sometimes, which is an hour and a half. So I really want, it's a challenge for me, definitely, but it's also, as I said, it's my goal to teach you as less as possible. Why? Because I want you to be able to come out of this evening with a practical, I would say practical tool. Of course, you're not going to be experts in EFT, okay? But at least you would have something practical that you can use. All right? So it's not going to be just, theoretic or just inspiring, even though I would love it to be inspiring, but also practical. I think that if you have questions it's okay for me if you ask your questions during the lecture. If for some reason I would feel that it's not the right time to answer the question, so I would say that I would answer it later. Okay, is that good for you? So, as I said, Gary Craig was the founder of the EFT. He's a Stanford engineer, and he designed the EFT on another technique that is called TFT. You don't have to know all that. I'm just giving some background. Okay, slowly we'll take you into the subject. And his goal was to design something, a process that would be very friendly, very simple, and that can be used and applied by any person. Okay, now this is one of the reasons that I really like EFT and feel that it's so important, because I believe that when we have something, a tool that we can use on our own, on ourselves, it's really empowering. Okay, so many times we are in problem, pain, stress, okay, and we don't know what to do. And not only that we don't know what to do, but we also have this belief that only someone else can help us. Okay? And I think that when we have something that we can do, that we can use, that we can help ourselves, it is empowering. Okay? It is really connecting to our resources and being able to help ourselves at times of stress, of pain, of confusion, is in my eyes very, very important. So what I want, you all have next to you my card, and on the other side of my card there's this figure. It's very small, so it's not so easy, but at least you can have it. You can have even, I recommend that each of you will take two of these. One you can keep in your, in your bag, in your wallet, that will be with you. The other one you can keep, at your desk or wherever you want to keep it. So at least it will be a reminder. Okay, it will be a reminder, because once you learn the tapping points, it's easy to learn. Once you learn them, you don't need the card. So it will just be a reminder, but you won't need it. So I think that today I'll start from the end. Usually I teach, I explain the technique, what stands behind it, how it works, okay? But today, and then we do something practical. Today I'll start from the end. We'll do something practical. You would feel, okay, the effect of the tapping, and then we'll go into anything else, okay, the explanations or. So what I would like you to do is each of you to recall and connect with a memory, specific event. Okay, this is one of the important things in EFT. We have to be very specific. The more specific you are, the better results you get. So if you want to tap on something and tap it away, I'll show you in a minute how you do it. If it's something in general and you're not focused on anything, and it's just a general thing, that you won't really see the results. Okay, so choose a very specific memory that made you angry. I'm choosing this emotion, anger, because I think it's very universal. And you don't have to choose something really traumatic, You can use something that happened today, yesterday, a week ago, something in your life. Yes, Arya?
About anger, in one of the books I read, and I remember Emotional Intelligence by Dr. Daniel Goleman. He quotes someone else who says something so well I never forgot. He said, "A universal trigger for anger is the sense of being endangered." And it says in Zechariah that in the Messianic era, about this, each man will sit under his vine and his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. So it acknowledges that that absolutely is a trigger, a sense of being endangered in all cultures.
I respect what Dr. Goldman said. I believe that it's much broader. He brought the subject. I think that from my experience and from my knowledge, anger is a result of an unfulfilled need. Okay, so if we have a need to feel safe, for example, and it's not fulfilled, and so we feel it endangered, we might feel anger. Okay, but if I have a need for example, for support from my husband, from my friend, let's say that I have this need and I don't get it in a certain situation, I might feel angry. Or, many other examples. So anger is an important emotion because it says, hey, okay, something is happening. There's an unfulfilled need. So, anger has a bad reputation. I think it's an important emotion. I think we have to, if you will listen to it carefully, it is very supportive even. I know it sounds strange, but it is. It could be. But nevertheless, when we have a memory, an event, okay, that made us angry, we don't want to keep this anger inside. We don't want to be holding this anger and, go on and on and on with all the other angers and fears and all the emotions that we gathered through the years. We want to release it. So, is there anybody here that cannot recall a memory that something that made him angry? Okay, it's very easy. So, what we want to see now is that when you connect with this memory, see that it activates something in your body. Okay, you can feel it in your body, this anger. You have to feel it. If you just have a memory but you don't feel anything, so it's not something you need to release. It's just a memory and that's all. Can you feel it in your body? Yeah. And if you can't feel it in your body, maybe you have to try and remember something that was more dramatic. Because we want to see where it is located in our body. And it's a wonderful thing and a wonderful way to connect our thoughts, emotions, and body. Okay? If I have a memory and I say to myself, I feel very angry about it, and then I find it in my body, and I locate it in my body, so it's like we connect all the three dimensions, because so many times we're not connected. Okay, so let's see if you all have a sensation in your body. Yes, yes. What about you? Can you feel it in your body? No. Not really? What about you? Yes? No? Joel? Yes? Can you?
It's been a long time.
Okay, so for those who can't really connect now with anger, so maybe you can, is there any other emotion that you can connect with now? Another memory? Yes? Okay, great. Can you just feel it in your body? Maybe you can connect with fear. Maybe you can connect with disappointment. Okay? I chose anger because I would instruct us all, so I needed something in common. Okay? So you have it in your body? Great. Once you found it in your body, put it on a scale from 0 to 10, how high it is. Of course, 0. 0, 10 is... Now, be flexible with it. It doesn't have to be very serious, compare it to other people or to other catastrophes, or it's just something we want to use now so you can measure it and go back to it. Okay? It's not a statement of any kind. Okay, so Alia, where do you have it in your body and how strong it is?
It's here and it's about 3 because it's a very long ago.
Okay,
Also over here, and it's about, I'd say, 5.
okay, Riva.
Mine is in my head here, and it's also about a 4.
All right,
Maybe here, maybe 2 or 3.
okay.
Sort of in the middle, about 3.
Here in the middle, 5.
Okay,
Probably here in my throat, about a 4.
fine. Okay, so just be, let's say, interesting that we all have it here in the center, and Riva took us to the head. And so just be connected now. I'm connected, I mean, you pay attention, okay, to your body, to your sensation, and what we'll do, you just do what I do. We go here, we tap. The tapping has to be the other side. Right, exactly. This is called the karate chop because we do, okay, this is a makat karate, they call it, kaha. So this is where we tap, and it should be strong enough for you to feel it, okay, because it has to activate, okay, it has to, right. The side of the hand,
Does it make a difference which hand?
no, no. Now, all the points that we tap are symmetrical, except 2, I'll show you. We can use either side. You can start tapping on one side and continue on the other side. Okay, the technique is very liberal. You cannot make mistakes. No mistakes, okay? So we can just tap here. While you're tapping, on every point that we'll tap, we'll take a soft breath and focus on the part in your body where you hold the pain or the tension or the anger. Yofi, we'll go to the next point. The next point is here, at the top of the head. Right, this is, the highest part of the, it's called vortex. It can be here, and we do the same. And you can also, some people would do that. We just tap all over, okay? But let's try this one now. And as you tap here, again, just, take a nice soft breath and bring your attention to this part of your body where you can feel the stress. I'm calling stress now as in general, right? To any sensation, whether it's pain or anger or disappointment or anything. Good. The next point is here would be the beginning of the eyebrow. March the beginning of the eyebrow. Yes. And then just tap here, and we do the same. Breathe. And just pay attention to your sensation, your physical sensation. The next point, the side of the eye, it's called the side of the eye, it's just here. Right. Under the eye. We're on the bone, the cheekbone, and under the eye, we want to tap under the pupil. This should should be, just imagine, it's very close to the center, to the nose. Some people would tap here on the side by mistake. It's not the right place to tap, it's here. Okay. Just tap here. Okay, connect with your sensation, be there. Okay, we want to be present in connecting to what we feel. Okay, we'll go under the nose. The chin, that's actually not really the chin, but under the lower lip. It's called chin, though. Yes. Here, the collarbone. This is a good way to do it because you don't have to go now into finding the exact point. So if you just do that. The next point would be here, under the arm. It's called under the arm. It's just under the arm, on the side. Okay, I'm using 4 fingers here because I want to be sure that I'm finding the right place. A way to see if that you find the right place is if you just massage this place. You might feel it's a painful, sensitive spot. Okay, some people can feel it very clearly, some not. It's okay. Okay, so now we continue. We finish the part of the torso. Hold your hand like this in front of you. Okay, try to bring the thumb to be parallel to the other fingers. And what we do is we tap on the side of the finger, on the top part of the finger, on the side, parallel to the nail. I'm gonna. Can I go here now?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, I recommend tapping with 2 fingers and not 1. I won't go into the explanations why now, but it's better. Let's go here, on the side. See? On the side, actually parallel to the nail. Here. Okay, we go back to the next finger. And each of you, just on your own pace, go from one finger to the other. Remember to breathe gently and connect to the sensation, the physical sensation. Yes. Okay, after tapping the 5 fingers, we go back to this point of the karate chop. The other side. Right. We go back here. Correct. And the last one, the last point is, just see what I'm doing? I'm sliding my fingers, and it would be this point between the 2 fingers. Okay, can you find it? It's like there's a, okay, yes, yes. Oh, another way to find it is if you hold your hand like this between the 2 knuckles. Here, I put 2 fingers between these 2 bones and open it. That's where it is. All right? And sometimes it's easier if you place your hand like this. Just do that. Close your eyes. Go back to the place in your body where you felt what you felt. Okay. So let's imagine that we're all being exposed to this tapping, this weird thing, for the first time, including me. Okay? And we want to learn it together. So what we do, what I suggest, we'll just be curious. Okay? We don't necessarily would look now to see the result. If, let's say that it was 4 and now it would be 2. It was 5 and now it would be 1. This is, of course, this is the result that we want to really get to. But I'm suggesting something else. I'm suggesting let's be curious. As if we find something, we try something for the first time in our lives, and we want to learn it together. So, what did you feel? How was it, בכלל, to feel this? What did you feel? What did you think? Okay? Did it bring any other memory or emotions or what? What was it for you?
Well, I felt the points. Like I felt that, especially, I can't remember which one it was now you said, especially this one.
Yes.
I felt that is a special place. That's what I felt. I feel that that's a point.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So, thank you. So I'm going to use anything that you say in order to teach something about it, okay? So Riva said now that this was she felt that it was, an important point. There is something in EFT that is called emergency point. The more you do the tapping, okay, the more it becomes, the befriend with it. Each one of you will discover a point that is more sensitive, more effective, more relaxing, more something, and this would be your emergency point. Okay, so you would know it. Thank you.
Well, it was like you have a special hammer and you have an iceberg that's brought up from under the water, and if you tap in just the right places, it causes little cracks to go through the iceberg and pieces then start to fall off.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Did you feel it? I mean, did you experience that something is falling out or falling apart, or that it's happening?
I had the feeling that these particular points are not random points, but are connected to some sort of inner system of lines connecting different parts of
Yes.
the body and psyche.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Aya says here, Aya actually says, okay, we're tapping this point, the specific points. Most of them are beginning of meridians. Some of them are beginning or ends of meridians. They're in like these channels where the energy flows. What is energy? What's energy for you? How would you define energy?
Well, it's a network that flows in our body, and it also connects everyone.
Okay, thank you. What's energy for you?
MC squared.
Sorry?
I don't know. MC squared.
It's pretty good answer.
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
MC squared.
Oh, okay, okay. Riva?
Of blood in the body.
Mhm.
Feel it as the blood
Mhm.
moving around.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What do you say? What's energy?
That's mechanical work.
Okay, mechanical work, fine. Anybody else?
Like a current, maybe.
What about this strange thing, electricity? it sounds strange, but actually we are electrical creatures. It's a lot has inside to do with what do I mean? For example, if one goes to, for example, EEG, right? And so there's this slip that comes out, right? And you took two graphs. One would show the heartbeat, and one would show the electric פעילות, this activity of the heart. No, this is, how is it called? ECG, sorry, and EEG is the brain. Sorry, I got confused. ECG and EEG of the brain, they both show the electric wave, electric activity of the organ. Right? Did you know that?
I didn't know it, but I
Okay.
just
So now-
learned it.
Okay. So actually, we have this electric energy, and how would you call it? But that's what I call it. Okay, it's electric energy in the body. Electric waves, electric. Yes. Okay, so the tapping and the meridian system, as Aya said, and is connecting us to this source of energy, right? Of this electric thing. It's as if we're loading the batteries. Because sometimes we can say, my energy is very low, right? I have no energy. Just think of our cell phones.
Yes.
You look in, the battery is very low. We put it in we plug it in. Okay? So every time you want to plug in, you can tap. Simply. Okay, once you tap, for a few minutes, you activate the energy, you activate the electricity, you activate this whole system in your body. You feel more energized. Okay, and drink water, it's important. Thank you. Okay, who else wants to share? How was it for him, the experience of tapping? Did it change anything? Did it make you feel anything?
Well, you mentioned, what did you say about drinking water? Did you mention something about
Yeah.
that?
Yes, yes. It was important.
Could you say it again or
Yes.
expound on what the special importance of
It
water
is important, very important, to drink water in any energy work that we do. Any energy work, be it EFT or healing or acupuncture or shiatsu or any massage, even though it goes to the body, but it's also energy work, because water is the best electric molich. How do you say molich? I don't know. Conductor. Thank you very much. Okay? So while doing energy work and actually using electricity in the body would use the water. And we dry up. Sometimes when I'm working with a client that we tap, I tap her, or tap myself while I'm working on Skype, or I tap on myself. Usually on sessions, it's a long time. I can feel the dryness in my mouth. So you should be aware, just in general, that if you doing any energy work, or if you tap, it's good to drink. Okay. Okay. Anything else that you want to say or share or ask?
I want to ask something.
Yes.
I like what you've just said about this tapping into the energy, like you're, plugging in your cell phone. I always thought that what you were actually doing is clearing a blockage in the meridians.
Yes.
Like stress would cause a blockage.
Yes.
So it's actually the opposite.
The opposite and the same. Thank you for bringing this out. This is going to be the next chapter. Thank you. So, what does it really do? The tapping. What does it really do? Because we are going to the, let's say, the beginning of the meridian. Okay? Just imagine a system of water pumps, right? And you go and do this. Okay? You create movement. Can you see that? Okay? You can. When I was a child, there was this thing called pompa. We used to do this. Okay? We do this. Now it activates the energy, the flow of energy, the electricity in the body, in the meridians. One result is that we feel more energetic. If I call it, just exercise. If I start the morning with tapping, just walk around and tap, I'm doing certain things and I'm just walking around and tapping. Even if I don't do the whole sequence, even if I don't tap all the points, even if I tap a few points, and just, as I said before, remember, you can do nothing wrong with EFT. It's all permitted and it's all good. If you skip one point, if you change the order, if you use only 3 of the 14, it's okay. It will have different results maybe, but it's okay, you can't make a mistake. So if I just walk around, Reba and I tap, without really focusing on any issue, just tapping, itamlut, okay? Exercise. I activate the system. And by the way, it has it accumulates. The result of the tapping accumulates in the body. So if you do tap 5 minutes today and 10 tomorrow, at some point you'd feel it. This is something that I love seeing with clients. At some point it's as if they shifted from one position to something else. I guess you should know it. So as I said, this is energizing. On the other hand, what it does, because it energizes the flow of energy, it releases blocks. Now, what is blocks? Honestly, I think no one can really explain. Okay? We can feel it, we can see it, we can see the result, but I don't think that anybody can really explain what it is. We can use meshalim, we can use, give examples, or but what we know is that when we experience something, I would call it negative, okay, because that's how we used to see things, but it's not, I don't really think that it's negative. Because sometimes negative things or emotions or events can lead to something very important and bring us to some enlightenment, to some development, to some moving from our comfort zone. Okay? So I think negative like this. So we know that when we experience negative emotions, let's say fear, shame, some shock, disappointment, you name it, on the negative emotions, the immediate result would be some feeling of constriction. Sometimes we would feel it and notice it, sometimes we won't. Okay? Because we get used to it and because we're not focusing on what's really happening, but the immediate result would be some constriction or freeze, which is the same, because also freezing, this is what we feel, as opposed to when something positive that happens, usually it would come with a feeling of some expansion, some relaxation, okay, and breathing deeply or deeper, okay? So it's very clear. It's very clear to the energy system that when we shrink, when we constrict, something clatters. Can you see just the logic of it?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay?
What did you say wrong? Is something what?
Clatters.
when something clatters, it's like clatter. We okay, something clatters. Just see, see, sorry. Just see, imagine a river, small river. Okay, when the water, the stream of water flows. Okay, so you can see. I think that we all, the minute you see it, the minute you imagine it, already it's like you feel it in your body, right? I could see it on your face. You can feel the energy, the stream of the water. Now, if the stream of the water is like, going very slow because it's full of, the channel is full of, I don't know what, garbage of some sort, or dry leaves, yeah? Everything is slow, sluggish somehow, and then more and more, I don't want to call it garbage, but okay, more and more unnecessary things.
Pollutions.
Sorry?
Pollution.
Yes. Okay. Good word. But it would just easily join, right? It would easily go there. So if you can see that as something that happens inside us as well, in our energy system and our emotional system, in all systems. This is how it happens. So the tapping can allow you to really help yourself tap away and release these emotions, these blocks on a daily basis. I don't think that you can come out of it. We'll do some more exercise now. I don't think that you can come out of this short lecture knowing how to release issues in your life or patterns, okay, or things that have been sitting there for a while, but you will be able to release any tension that you meet that is happening now. Okay? You can do that. And this is a big thing. It's very important. And if you could do it easily. Because I didn't find any other technique that works as fast, simple, and elegant as EFT. Okay? So shall we do a few more rounds? Okay? I want you to just feel safe about the points, okay? And let's go to the beginning of the eyebrow. And the side of the eye. Yes, on either side, okay? Some people like working like that, tapping on both sides. You can try, you can play with it. Because you might find out that you actually like tapping on both sides at the same time, or not. Under the eye. Yes. Under the nose. And the chin, and don't forget breathing. Bless you.
Please.
Collarbone. Do this. Remember, I showed you before how to do it like this. This is another way to do it. Under the arm. Remember this point under the arm? Sometimes some people can do that. And we're going to the fingers. And the next point, the next finger. Another one. Another one. Yes. The side of the hand, karate chop. This point here, that is called gamut, by the way. It's called 9 gamut.
what?
It's called, this point is called 9 gamut.
9 gamut.
Yeah, because usually there's another part here that we can use in the EFT, doing 9 different movements, eye movements. I don't want to add it here because, as I said before, the less I teach you, the better it is, because then what you learn, you know how to use for sure. Okay. Now, all you have to do, in my eyes, is really just practice it. More, just tap. Even automatically, just tap. Now, what happens? First of all, you'll know all the points. You'll know by heart all the points. Second thing, it won't be something strange to you, so that when you want to use it, say at a certain moment where you feel pain or stressed or angry or any other emotions, when you want to use it, it will be accessible. So many times we have so many tools, but we only use them when we are in, extreme danger, let's call it this way. But then it's not accessible. Remember, we used to teach women, Riva and I, years ago, 8 years ago, we were teaching childbirth education together, right? And we were childbirth doulot, how would you? Coaches, yes. So I remember we used to teach women all these exercises and breathing, etc. And I said, if you're not going to try it now, you're not going to use it during birth, because during birth you're going to be in pain, blah, blah, blah. It's not the right time to start using now new techniques, right? If you learn something, you practice, it becomes, friendly, you become friends with it, so when you need it, it's there, it's accessible, right? Maybe I'll just make a little pause now, see if you have any questions, and then go for something else. Yeah?
A person who would start a program with a guide as a certified emotional freedom techniques practitioner, what would be the time? Would it be weekly, monthly? I, of course, would imagine it depends on how serious the person's situation is. Whether it's an emergency level serious, or it's not like that, but it's much more long term. What would you recommend? Does it vary from person to person, or are there general suggestions?
I think, as I said before, I think that if someone needs help, and we all need, by the way, because we're all the same, after all, we all suffer from our issues. I think that when someone suffers from something which I call chronic, and according to medicine, allopathic medicine, it's chronic is something that lasts more than 3 months, okay? When something becomes chronic, we need professional help, okay? We need someone from the outside, professional, that has the skills, and that knows how to lead us, and to do that's what you asked?
Yes.
Okay, so this is for sure, we need someone else to help us. We need a professional guidance. What I'm teaching here, and what I'm really encouraging you to do, is to use the EFT, the tapping. This is a very simple, basic level, very, very simple, but effective if you use it in the right time. And the right time is that you use it when something is happening and stressing, or, as I said, painful, now. Okay? If you use it, an event that is happening now. Because when something is happening now, it's present. Okay? It's present in the body, it's present in the energy system. You can feel it here and now. So you don't need to make all sorts of manipulations and acrobatica to make it present, or okay, it's here. It's here. So if someone, okay, for example, if you wake up tomorrow morning and you face some stressing situation, so all you have to do is just do that. Okay, just take that 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes if needed. Just take it, give it to yourself, and just tap. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now I want to say, trust me. I won't say it because you have to try it and see that it works in order to trust it. But give yourself a chance. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to solve all the problems and change your life, etc., blah, blah. But I'm saying that it's going to create a shift, almost an immediate shift in the way you feel, in the energy, releasing the pain, releasing the struggle inside, releasing, okay, the stress. And I know that what happens in most of the cases, that when we release, let's say that you find yourself in a situation with someone that really makes you angry, all right? And you tap it away. And the anger from being, let's say, 10 on the scale would be now 5 or 4 or disappear. The automatic result of that is a cognitive shift. This is very important. Okay, it's a cognitive shift. What do I mean? Let's say that I'm in a certain conflict and I feel very angry, right? And I tap for a few minutes and I tap it away. Once this energy of anger is being tapped away, something gets clearer and there's a cognitive shift. Maybe suddenly I would think, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was so sure when I said that. Maybe the other person wasn't so wrong. I don't know, okay? Things happen, but they happen from inside. I call it an organic change. That's how I put it.
Yes, 2 things. One is I have the images you're talking of. In our neighborhood, you have the big building next to the park. It has all the drainage pipes. So if we think of ourselves as buildings with drainage pipes, they can and will get clogged. And simply, I know it from where, from the Alps, you know, an avalanche can and will be a few little stones rolling.
Right.
There's a name for that effect in physics. What is the butterfly effect? The butterfly flapping its wings in Tokyo can cause an avalanche in Argentina. This actually is real. And in the Alps, you have the mountainsides with the houses built in the valleys. All it takes is a few stones to get the whole thing, half the mountain coming down. This is actually real. So you're describing also the drainage pipes can and do get clogged. And especially here in Israel, I just add one thing. I do a lot of my work in the Beit Cafe at the Leonardo Plaza Hotel. I like it because it has these huge picture windows always flooded with light. So one of the guards is a young immigrant from Italy, from North Italy, and I said, tell me, what's your impression of Israelis, the differences in the culture? He said, well, one difference is, whenever I ask routine questions like, are you a guest here? Israelis will treat even the most routine question as an attack. Why do you ask me that? Why do you have to know? It's simply, I'm doing this for the protection. If you're not a guest, you come into the restaurant, the cafe. These are reasonable questions. But he said, talks about chashmal and energy. Israeli society is so hypercharged that he said, this is not the exception, this is the rule. When you talk to a native-born Israeli and ask him a routine question, he treats it like you've attacked him. And that indicates a society where the stress is off the charts.
For sure, as a society, we suffer from extreme stress. We got used to it. Okay, we in survival mode. Many of us, experience survival mode, and we adjust to this level of stress. You're right.
what do you do if the fight or flight response in most circumstances is limited? Like, okay, the saber-toothed tiger wanted to gobble me up. It lasted 3 minutes, but what do you do in a society which is in chronic stress mode, where the saber-toothed tiger is not just 24/7, but 48/7? You got to use anything in your medicine chest to defend yourself against that, because otherwise you have, in Israel, for example, one of the highest cancer rates in the world,
I agree with
including
you.
lots of children.
I agree with you. And you know, one of the things that I learned once, which is really outstanding, actually when someone interviewed me in England, someone from England and interviewed me and said, listen, I read, I read a little research and found out that the highest rate of practitioners and healers in the alternative medicine and field, the highest rate is in Israel compared to the population. Yes, and I said, of course. Of course, it's of course. So, but this is the reason I believe that we can all learn so many self-help techniques. There are many. And each one works in a different way, and each one has a different benefit that comes with it. And the richer your toolbox is, the more in tune you can be at certain moments what is right for you to use now. For me, as I said, for me and for many other people, by the way, millions of people around the world, if you go on Google and write EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, the results are millions, okay, because many people use it. So for me, it is the easiest tool to use. It's handy, I don't need anything. Okay, I can do it anywhere, anytime. I don't care if people see me doing this. In the beginning, people feel a bit embarrassed, but I don't care. You can do it everywhere, and it works like that.
Not your problem to do it when you're driving.
I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I find myself driving and using one hand to tap not all the symptoms, but I would definitely use, this is my emergency point. Remember, we mentioned before, this is my emergency point, and I would definitely go here and tap if I'm under stress, or if someone, something happened on the road.
Because I think that's probably one of the main places where you benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's a lot of tension. Yes, right, yes. But you know what? This is also a result of people being so tensed in their lives that when they drive with all this tension. It's not that, you go in the car and suddenly you relax, you drive to the beach, you drive to the beach!
Road rage.
Yes.
I had a footnote about that. My neighbor, Varda, is a very nice native-born Jerusalemite, Yemenite lady in 60s, I think. And I don't have an Israeli driver's license. I have an American driver's license. And I never used the time at the very beginning to convert it.
Yes.
So now I can do it. It don't need to have 20 drivers left. I just have to take the written test and go out with one of their teachers. So I asked Varda about that, and she said, don't get the license. So I said, why not? She said, it's not good for you to drive here. I said, why not? She said, because for you it's better to take the bus or a taxi. I said, why? And she smiled and said, because you're not going to survive 5 minutes on the road here, because all the craziness and the nuttiness and the screwed upness and the anger and the frustration comes out on the roads. And I said, but wait a minute, Varda, what about the increased fines and the national education campaign for safe driving? She said, useless. She said, look, I have no interest in telling you this because my interest is to train people to drive. I should be telling you the opposite. But you're my neighbor, you have Friar written all over you coming from New York, and I want you to have a longer survival possibility here. I said, okay, so it's bad. Maybe it's getting better. She said, no, it's getting worse. She just told me the truth. Boom. So that apparently, she's been teaching for years. That's what she says the reality is.
Let's tap a little bit. What time is it? How long?
Yeah, could stay till 9:30. Then they
Okay,
have
that's
course.
good.
Sorry?
Do you ever do this in public?
What do you mean?
Like in the street, if you're walking down the
I do,
street?
I do.
And has anybody come up to you and said, is everything okay?
No. No, but I can tell you that Reba, I'm so glad you came, and I have all the all these examples connected to you. But for example, we once took the boat in Greece from one island to the from one island to the other, and everybody was nauseous. Like, it was terrible, really terrible. So I started tapping. And sure enough, I can tell you, a few people were looking at me, and they could see that I was okay, because people were vomiting, and really it was awful. I was fine. And I was looking around, and I saw some people just doing what I was doing.
They copied.
Yes. Yes. By the way, nowadays I read a few things about the mirror neurons. If you heard about it, we have this. Did you hear about it?
No.
It's called mirror neurons. We have these neurons that are activated by mirroring. Okay. So, for example, if I tap and someone is looking at me, there are these mirroring neurons that actually getting benefit from my tapping just by looking at it.
Really?
Yes, yes. You look for
Just
it.
by looking.
Look for it. It's called mirroring neurons.
Amazing.
So, this was an example of people just looking at me and really doing the same because they could see that I was okay. For example, but I know that I'm not an example because I've been using EFT for 18 years and it became part of really. So I don't really care what people think of me or how do I look. Yeah, but I know that it's not so easy for people that want to start using it. So I'll show you now how to use it in public. Okay? So the way to use it in public is like that. Hi, it's okay. Okay, instead of, we're going to the hand. Okay, in the hand we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 points, and this is 8, which I didn't show you in the beginning, but I'll show you now. Okay? I'll say in brackets. I don't want to go into it, but I'm saying in brackets because you might see something else. This finger, actually, when we tap here, it's not a tapping point. Okay, it's not. I mean, it's the meridian. The tapping point would be here. But I'm not confusing you or any other people with either skipping this, because some people would skip this, or because anyway, we get to the same meridian while tapping here. Okay, so I just do this because it's easier to tap it along with the other points instead of thinking to skip and blah blah blah. Okay, so this was just in bracket. So what you do in public, for example, you do this. Look what I'm doing. I'm just pressing. Okay? Pressing. Acupressure. Pressing here. And breathing and releasing and going to the next finger. So this is something you can do. Never mind if the camera. Okay, let's say if you're sitting. I'm gonna just stand up in a minute. If you're sitting, okay, you can just do it under the table. Okay? Then to the next finger. And just breath. And another one. And the next finger. And now I'm here. The karate chop, right? So I'm just pressing it. If I don't want to tap, because this is something that people can see and I feel uncomfortable, whatever. I'm just pressing. And then I'm pressing this point. The gamut, remember I can press it. I do like this. So when you press, no one sees anything. Right? And there's another another thing, which I didn't show you earlier, but also here we have 3 meridians that are crossing here. One that goes to the pinky, okay, the one that we just pressed, one that goes to the thumb, and one that goes here. Okay, so even though we pressed it or tapped it before, we can go back to it and just hold it like this.
You know, that reminds me of, there's a film that came out of, actually 7 years ago in 2010 called Temple, about Dr. Temple Grandin, who's written a number of books and received quite a lot of attention for her work redesigning the slaughterhouses. So they'd be more animal friendly. She's not in favor of slaughtering animals, but she wanted to make it more humane. And she's, from early childhood, diagnosed with high-functioning autism. It's called also Asperger's syndrome. And one of the things she says in her book is, as a child, she designed a squeeze machine. She said people in general, and high-functioning autistic people, build up a lot of stress and anxiety. She created a box where she could pull a lever and it would squish her, like being massaged by someone with
Yeah.
meat packing plant hands. Go crunch, 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 crunch. And so she recommends that on a regular basis to relieve stress for anybody. You
Yes.
have to be autistic too,
Yes.
because it will build up for anyone, even if especially for people whose nervous systems may be more sensitive than the rest of humanity.
Maybe this is more like, to get the benefits like a massage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when one goes to the massage, it has certain benefits. The tapping points work differently, and that's what I said before, that every method or modality has its own, specific benefits, and we should know the difference between and choose what's good for us. But definitely we cannot do it unless we try and feel, okay, and get really to know what we're doing. So I think it would be a right time to end the conversation, because I don't want to open another chapter, because as I said, it's usually I teach EFT level 1 in 8 hours, but I just want to know, let me ask you, do you feel, because it's important for me to know, because if not, maybe I can still give you another tip if necessary. I just want to know if you feel that you can use it. I mean, safe, whether you use it or not is a different question, but that you feel safe enough that you know what to do, yes, if you feel under stress tomorrow.
It would take some practice to remember where the spots are,
It's
but
not-
they're
Yes.
not
it's
that
very-
complicated.
it's very complicated.
One had
There's
a,
a car.
it's on the car.
Yes.
On the other side of the car,
Yes.
the reverse side.
Yes,
Ah, well,
Yeah.
Yes.
Very beneficial.
get started.
yes. So is it clear?
Very.
Good.
Questions and comments? More questions and comments? That's fine. Anybody?
Sorry, I came later.
It's
It's
alright.
a different program. I'm sorry
It's
barging
gonna
in
be
like
on
this.
the
It's
internet.
okay.
No
I
problem.
just want to ask something question. I don't know if there's anything. What's the difference between NLP and
EFT? EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's tapping. Okay, it goes into the meridian system, releasing energy, releasing blocks. Doing NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and it's based on changing patterns of the language, saying that if we use different words, it changes a lot, not only in the way we think, but also by the way it changes the release of hormones and chemicals of the brain. For example, if I say, this is very complicated, okay? This is one thing, but if I say, but this is challenging,
Right.
okay, so NLP works a lot with changing, reframing, exactly.
I have a question. I mean, I know people are different sizes and body types, but how much water during the day optimally should a person drink? And what about, does it vary at different ages? Men and ladies and men?
I don't know. I don't know. I just want to know. I just know that, as I said, that when you tap, especially if you tap, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's important to drink.
Can one drink too much, or your doctor is the excess water
You
just
can
passed out of
drink-
the body?
Sometimes you can drink too much.
You could theoretically cause
Then
damage to
you
yourself.
can wash out the electrolytes.
Ah, so there is such a thing as too
Yeah,
much.
it is.
I didn't know
If you watch the color of your urine,
that. Right.
it shouldn't be clear. It should have a little yellow, but it shouldn't be dark yellow.
I didn't know
So
that.
that's a good
Now I
way to
know.
know.
It's very interesting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Don't go anywhere yet.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to give the closing remarks here. It's been a very inspiring, a very interesting, a very practical talk. And I think what we get out of it, which I think is really, really important, is it's non-invasive, it's not harmful, and it's very practical.
Yes.
And if we can relieve the stress in a non-invasive way, it's wonderful. So it's only beneficial, and I think it's been very, very inspiring for us. And I really want to thank you for sharing your expertise and your knowledge that you gained over all the years. And I hope for all our listeners out there and for our audience that we're here tonight, that we've gained so much from this. And just we want to wish you all the very best and to continue
Thank
your
you.
good work. And thank
Thank you
so
very much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Oh, that was wonderful, Ilana, really.
Great.